Hello everyone, good morning, how are you doing? It's Amanda. Today is the 5th of December 2019 and I am doing a video on the forthcoming UK general election on the 12th of December, the 1212 portal. And more than anything, I think I'd like this video to be a good look at the energies behind the leaders of the main parties, and I'm going to extend it beyond the traditional three political parties in the UK: Liberal, Conservative, and Tory. And I'd like to also look at the Scottish National Party, the two parties in Northern Ireland, the Green Party, the Welsh Party, and the Brexit Party. So we're going to have a really good look. My intention is that this is a neutral read. I'm going to put my own personal opinions to one side here and just really try and see what I get. I'm very interested actually to see what I get. And I've had a deck of cards sitting on my desk for the last few days, which are called the Lionheart Tarot. And they know their job, basically. That's the box. The Lion's Gateway Tarot is called. The Lion's Gateway Tarot. And who has done this? It says the Lion's Gateway leads directly to the heart with expressive colours, iconic imagery, and a strong emphasis on traditional symbolism. The primitive wood-burned images evoke the quintessential energies of the tarot. And the artist is Jessica Lee Henry. So we're going to use this. So let's just, I think before I get into any of the individual characters, I'd like to just have a look at the overall energy of this. Okay, so I'm just going to pull a couple of cards linked into the UK and the forthcoming general election. Okay, so the cards might make a little bit of noise. They're lovely, actually. They're quite thick, but you can hear me shuffle. There's not much I can do about that because this is the deck I need to use. Okay, let's just have a card then, please. Let's just first call in Archangel Michael, who is my main guide. And let's just ask that this reading be clear, concise, and give us accurate information that we are able to hear at this time. So, Archangel Michael, please, let's just have a card linking into the overall energy in the lead up to this general election. So this is in the lead up to the general election. Let's just have a look at the overall energy. And wow, look at that. Can't make it up. We've got the Justice card straight off the back, and we've got the card of the Emperor. To me, the Emperor here is Boris Johnson because he is the person who is the current incumbent of the keys to number 10 Downing Street. He is the Prime Minister, so he is the one that is in control. He's in the lead position. And this feels very much as though it is a personal what's the word? Not appraisal. Appraisal's the only word that's coming to mind. Appraisal of how he's done so far. It feels personal. It feels as though it's about Boris more than anything else. Now, whether it should be about Boris is a completely different matter, but that is how I'm reading those two cards. Justice is coming, and it links into the energy of the Emperor. Now, you might look at those two cards and think, well, maybe the Emperor is somebody else. But to me, because he's the sitting Prime Minister, I'm going to say it's him, okay? So it's as though, Justice is a card that's very, very tied up with karma as well for me. It's as though you get served the justice that you deserve, for good or for bad. So also this card of Justice to me is very much the UK trying to weigh up, literally we've got the scales, trying to weigh up who they want to then put into a position of power. Okay? Anything else to say on that? And I also want to say it does feel as though it's a bit of a fight between what I would say is a feminine archetype and a masculine archetype. So here at the moment, we've got the ruler as I'm wanting to say a more patriarchal energy. That doesn't just mean Boris, it can mean other players on the stage. And here we've got a more feminine influence. That doesn't mean that it's just linked into the female players that are in this election, of which there are, I'm just trying to count up, I think there are 3. Okay, we've got Jo Swinson, who is the Liberal Democrat, we've got Nicola Sturgeon, who's the Scottish National Party leader, and we've got Arlene Foster, who is the DUP. So those are 3 women, but remember, men can also hold a feminine energy as well. So I feel Jeremy Corbyn has a more feminine energy than, or is more in touch with his feminine side, let's put it that way, than maybe somebody like Boris. So it's not saying anything, it's just saying that it feels as though there's a bit of a fight on. For what I want to say is the heart of the UK, okay? Are we going to go more towards or stay in a more patriarchal male energy? Or are we going to decide to balance that out with a more feminine energy? And when I say balance it out with a feminine energy, what I'm really feeling is that the feminine energy might be the one that holds the balance of power. The opinion polls are actually swinging wildly at the moment. Boris Johnson and the Conservatives have been out in front since he called it. But there have been some more recently which have been predicting a hung parliament where there isn't one overall winner, and indeed somebody else might have to make up the balance of power. That might be somebody who holds a more feminine energy. And I'm really feeling that actually the more that I say it, because if you look at the scales are black and white. And that leads me straight back into the energy of the Tree of Life with the two pillars, which I keep referencing, the masculine pillar, the feminine pillar, and the middle way. So that's just like an overview of how we're feeling in the run-up to it. Let's just see what's on the bottom of the pack as well. On the bottom of the pack, we've got the Two of Cups. So I do feel there's an energy within the country which is wanting us to come together a little bit more. The last 3 years have been quite divisive and have split people on certain issues, particularly the Brexit issue. And it feels as though the Two of Cups is just a nod to, at some level, deep in the psyche, we want to come back together, but yet we don't quite know how that looks, how it would work, or indeed even if that's possible. But the Two of Cups is that energy of union. And I'm also hearing as well, there is a desire here, certainly for a substantial number of people across the United Kingdom, which of course is not just England for people that are watching in other countries. No disrespect, but sometimes people think it's just England. It's England, Northern Ireland, Wales and Scotland. There is a desire also, that Two of Cups is the card of union, to hold it together, to hold the union together. I know some people don't agree with that, and that's fine, but it's just what came in as an energy strand that I'm picking up, okay? There is a fear of breakup of the union, and we'll look at that when we come to look at Nicola Sturgeon and the Scottish National Party, because certainly that's something that she's wanting another referendum on. But now let's just stay focused on the job at hand. And let's just go straight into the first party, shall we? And who am I going to start with? I've actually got all their photographs here that I've printed off. So I'm going to just shuffle. Oh, it's quite hard to shuffle because they're pieces of A4 paper. But I don't actually want to know who I'm going to do first. So let's just see. I have to say it's quite funny. I've printed off all these individual pictures, and Boris's picture, for some reason, printed twice. And I chuckled to myself a little bit because he is a Gemini, as is Corbyn. And in fact, the election is held on the full moon in Gemini. So both of their energies are highlighted. But I also just, whatever you think of Boris, he is quite a character which will push himself forward. So he's got 2 photographs in here. So there's a bigger chance of Boris being pulled first. But let's just see. Okay, who are we going to do first, Metatron? This person. It is Boris. Yeah, it's like, I'm number 1. And I don't want to be budged from where I am. Before I even pull any cards, I won't necessarily pull cards on all of them actually, I might just do an intuitive, we'll see how we go. But I'm just linking into him intuitively, here he is. And there is this energy of, with him, this is his energy, I'm not going anywhere, okay? It's as though I'm seeing him in this chair, and he's really rooted to it. He's really rooted to that chair, which is the Emperor. Where's the card gone? I don't know. I put it back in the pack. But, you know, he's sitting on that chair and he doesn't want to budge from that position of power. It's as though it's taken me a long time to get there, and I'm not going, it's almost like I'll be dragged screaming and shouting from this place, okay? He wouldn't do that, of course, but this is the underlying energy that I've got with him. So there he is. Let me just have a look and a feel into his energy today. I have looked at Boris before. I looked at his energy when he first came into power and became Prime Minister. And at that time, he came in on a real groundswell of pretty positive opinion. Even some of my friends who are diehard Labour supporters admitted, actually, he's probably the best man for the job. Just get Brexit done. Let's get it over with. And, you know, let's move on from that. Since then, it's been a very bumpy ride, and he's lost a lot of public support, mainly of a few different things, but the one that stuck with me was the proroguing of Parliament, which was proven to be illegal, and he never apologised for that, which I personally thought was a really bad move on his behalf. But anyway, so he's had a bumpy ride. He's lost some popularity since then. I did call him a man of destiny in that first video that I did of him. The question is, what is he destined for? So let's have a feel. In this photograph that I've printed off, and I just printed them off without an awful lot of thought. I was just trying to look for a big photograph more than anything. He looks a bit like a startled rabbit in the headlights, I have to say. And I'm just getting that energy in his eyes of... There's a lot that you don't see with him that's actually underneath the surface, because on the surface he is quite larger than life. Let's pull some cards for him. Let's just see what we get. So this is Boris Johnson, and let's just ask about his prospects, okay, his prospects with regard to this election. And I'll just pull the camera back so you can see me do the cards. Can I get the camera down a bit? I'm not sure whether I can. I got the wrong tripod on. Oh, I'll just hold them up. Okay. Okay, Boris Johnson, prospects for this election on 12/12, please, Spirit. Let's see, at today, the 5th, likely outcome for Boris Johnson with the general election. And let's please have 3 cards. 1. Boris Johnson, likely outcome, general election. 3 cards. 2. Boris Johnson, likely outcome, general election. Okay, we've got the King of Pentacles, which is a good card. And we've also got the card of the Empress, which is a good card. Very good. Look at those two. Looks a bit like Boris, actually, with his blonde hair. King of Pentacles is very stable, very grounded, very rooted. The Empress is an energy of fertility and abundance. But then we've also got the 5 of Cups. And the 5 of Cups to me is an energy of regret. If you look at it, we've got the 3 cups that have fallen over, and all the focus is on what has been lost. But yet behind the figure, there are still the 2 cups that stand, but yet the attention is not on those. The attention on what has been lost. Now, I don't know whether this is linked into a reduced majority, but to be honest, I think he's hardly got a majority. So, you know, he's hardly got a majority. it could be linked into seeing some of his allies and friends within the Conservative Party falling. So he loses some important support that he has counted on up to now, or just people that he likes doing business with, people who maybe are in his cabinet, people who are his close allies within the party. Maybe they don't regain their seat. But yeah, I feel that Boris is still in the mix, okay? And I'm going to say in the mix at the moment, because we've only done one person so far, and the possibility, as I say, of a hung parliament is quite strong still. But based on this, it feels as though he's definitely still there. He's clinging on a little bit to the power. Look at that, the pentacle, clinging on. But yet it isn't making him happy for some reason. Maybe it's because he's looking at who he has to then do alliance with, who he has to go into some form of government with, and his heart doesn't feel in it somehow. But he doesn't seem to realise that there is strength behind him, but he's not utilising it. Those two cups that are behind him. What's on the bottom of the deck? The bottom of the deck is the Five of Pentacles. Okay, the Five of Pentacles. Now, the Five of Pentacles is that energy. Let me just get the traditional card from the tarot, because it's one card that I've often got confused in the past in my readings, and it's quite important I get this right. I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying that the Five of Pentacles is the one where you feel as though you're locked out. Five of Pentacles, hold on. Yeah, it is. I'm sure it is. I just want to double check. And that to me would imply that he's feeling as though somehow he's locked out of power. Yeah, that's the traditional representation of the Five of Pentacles that some of you may be familiar with. It's just shown differently in this deck, okay? So it's a bit confusing because on one hand, we've got the Queen and the Empress, which you would think, oh, great, you know, I've still got the keys to power. And I'm looking here at the Empress, and she's got the ankh there, okay? And the ankh is next to a rabbit. I'm almost feeling as though he may have the power until springtime. The rabbit, to me, links me straight away to Easter and springtime. So I don't know whether whatever happens keeps him in some form of coalition or power, but then by Easter time, it feels as though somebody else who has a more feminine energy may be coming in and taking more of a prominent position. But as I say, initially it looks good, but then we've got these other energies underneath, which are basically saying, I'm feeling locked out. Remember, these are cards that I pulled on him and his chances, okay? Not so much on his policies or even his party. It was more about him. That's how I phrased the question. And this feels as though he is locked out of this. This is where it's all happening in here, the golden light. But for some reason, he's a bit of an outcast. So they don't make an awful lot of sense in some way, although in other ways they do. But then again, this isn't an easy election to even do a read on. The whole reason why we're having a general election is because we've had 3 years of stagnation and no progress. So that is reflected in the collective just as much as it is in the leaders. So those are Boris's cards, okay? We're just going to put them there. And I'm now going to pull, I think we'll go straight to the next person, and we will go to Jeremy Corbyn now, actually. Where is he? Because he's the second biggest party in the UK is the Labour Party, okay, which would be the Democrat Party in the USA. It's that sort of energy, okay? So there's Jeremy. I've done a reading on Jeremy a few years ago. I remember saying something along the lines of, cometh the hour, cometh the man. Again, since then, he's stayed in his position, but is this the hour? That's what we need to know. Is this the hour, or has it passed? For some reason, I want to spray Archangel Michael at this point, not because it's Jeremy Corbyn, just because I actually felt that the Archangel Michael energy wanted to be very present in this reading anyway. Archangel Michael is very much about getting to the truth of a situation. and also representing strength. And I feel as though Archangel Michael's energy is very much around the UK at the moment, actually, and this whole political process. So let's just bring Michael in. Okay. Right, Jeremy Corbyn. Let's do Jeremy Corbyn. For those of you that are watching from different countries that are not in the UK, the one thing that's been swirling around Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour Party since the election started is there have been accusations of anti-Semitism within the Labour Party, which he was very slow to issue an apology for, even though he repeatedly said that there is no place for anti-Semitism in society. And I personally don't pick up any energy that he is at all racist at all. I'm just reporting what has been in the press. So this has followed him, you know, whether there is anti-Semitism within the Labour Party, and it's put a question mark over his whole campaign. So he's also been talking a lot about the National Health Service and trying to get the election talking about other things other than just Brexit. He has gone on record and said that in the event of him gaining power, he wishes to remain neutral at this point in terms of how he would vote in a second referendum. I think I'm right in saying that, okay? So there's been a bit of frustration with some people in terms of, is the strength of leadership there or not? Some people love him, some people don't like him. Let's just see what his chances are, okay, for this UK election. So Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, let's please have 3 cards for Jeremy Corbyn. Jeremy Corbyn and the 12-12 UK election. Let's have a look at his chances. Number 1, the 8 of Wands. Straight away after hearing what that's about. Okay. Jeremy Corbyn and the UK election, 12-12. The Hierophant. Jeremy Corbyn and the UK general election, 12-12. Jeremy Corbyn and the UK general election, 12-12. The Chariot. On the bottom of the pack is the Ace of Pentacles. They're actually better cards than I thought they may be, based on what everyone, well, not everyone, I'm talking about tabloid press, which is not everyone at all. As I say, lots of people do really rate this guy. Okay, let me just say what I felt as the cards came through. So when I first saw the 8 of Wands, it's the fact that the wands are flying overhead, okay? Now, you could interpret that, particularly as it's with the Chariot, that he's going to do more damage to the Conservatives than maybe they're reckoning on. So that's a positive interpretation. However, when I first saw that card, what I was thinking was, it felt as though all of that energy, all of the direction, all of the hopes, it's just like, well, where are they landing? It's as though they're still up in the air. It's as though they're flying past. It's almost, I don't know, there's just an energy of, I need another card to go with that one, the 8 of Wands. It's just up in the air. It just feels up in the air. Now, I won't pull another card because I just want to do 3 cards for each one. It's up in the air. It's up in the air. It's up in the air. It's like there's a big question mark. There is a big question mark in the air with regard to this guy and how he's going to do. And it's probably linked into the opinion polls are not necessarily, they don't know. I think the turnout for the last election in the UK was woeful. It was so low. So it's like, it depends on turnout. It depends who turns out. It depends whether the youth vote gets out as well. So it's just up in the air. We've got the card of the Teacher. He is there representing some ethical, moral truths. So he is the man who will fight for the homeless, as an example. He is a man who genuinely cares about those who can't afford, food. We've got a growth of food banks, as in many countries across the world at the moment. People who are very low income, who really genuinely are struggling. It's as though, remember, leaders are a mirror. So he's there, the Hierophant is the card of the teacher in some way. Now, just because you hold an energy of being a teacher doesn't mean people turn up to the lesson. That's the truth. Some of what he is trying to communicate and get across, remember it came next to this card, it's as though it just goes over a lot of people's heads. It goes over a lot of people's heads that actually there are people out there with genuine need, in poverty, who need help. But that is the energy that he's reflecting, the energy of the Hierophant. The Hierophant is quite a grounded energy, though. You often see that linked into marriage, for example. It's the card of marriage as well. So for him, it's as though he's very married to his principles and his ideals. And it's very genuine. It goes very deep with him. He's also very married to his party. Okay, it's like him and his party are one, which I know sounds a rather silly thing to say, but it's not really, because you can get these politicians that come in who take over a party for a few years and they're the head of it, they're the face of it. But actually, when you scratch beneath the surface, did they ever really believe what they were saying? And I've got the energy of Tony Blair here now, okay, another Labour leader of past who came in, was very dynamic on the world stage for over a decade, was the head of the Labour Party, but yet there was always this mismatch between him and the party, certainly him and the grassroots. Whereas with Jeremy, there is this marriage. It's like me and the party are one. And I'm very grounded in that. I'm very locked into that. We've got the Chariot on the bottom of the deck. This, to me, is an energy of he's in his own way, he's quite ruthless. He will keep on going. Even the row about the anti-Semitism within the Labour Party. And as I say, I think most people don't believe he's a racist. I certainly don't believe he's a racist. I've not seen anything in his energy to see that. But it was almost like there was a bit of pride with him, which is that I don't want to apologise in the way you want me to apologise. I've already said it in a different way, but I'm not going to say those 3 words that you want me to say, It's a bit like if you're in love with somebody and they maybe express their love to you in many different ways, but they can't quite say those words, I love you. But yet it's very clear that they do, and that they do love you and that love is in their heart. He's already said it in a roundabout way many, many times that anti-Semitism has no place in the Labour Party, but yet he wouldn't come out for some reason with those 2 words and just say, I'm sorry. He did actually a few days ago, but it took ages of haranguing basically by the media, and then he did it. And that's sort of the energy here with the Chariot. It's like I'm just going to carry on. I'm very focused. I know what I'm doing. I don't want to. It's almost like he doesn't want to play the game. That's what it feels like. I don't want to have to play the game. But the Chariot is a good card, and look at that, it's the full moon. Now the election is on a full moon in Gemini, and he is a Gemini. So they're not bad cards for him at all, particularly when on the bottom of the pack we had the Ace of Pentacles, which is a fresh new start. Don't rule him out. Don't rule him out. I will do an overall thing about the result of the general election. I just want to see what we've got for each of the leaders at the moment. Anything else to say here that's coming through? I also want to say that if you see the Chariot there, can you see the flag on top of the Chariot? It looks a little bit like the stars that are in the European Union flag. The European Union flag has got it has got stars, and I think I'm right in saying there's like a blue background. Yeah, it's a blue background. It's got stars. That looks almost like a bit of the European flag. So even though, yeah, that's what I'm feeling there. And particularly when it's linked to the money, it's like he knows that what he believes is that the money comes in from Europe, and we also give money to Europe, of course. But you know, it's like we need to trade with Europe. This is trade. This feels like it's an energy about trade. So you know, it's like follow the money. He's been. What else is that at the bottom? That's the sign of Pisces for some reason on the Chariot. Water. There's a bit of water energy in his cards. There's a stream on the Eight of Wands. There's a stream on the Chariot. Of 4 cards, 2 of them are depicting a river. And I'm hearing the River Thames. Well, Parliament is beside the River Thames. I think he still has a role to play. I don't feel that he's going to fall flat on his face like some of his enemies are hoping he will. Okay, that's him. Let's do Jo Swinson now, and then I'm going to put all the cards back in the pack. So let's just do Jo. No, in fact, I'm going to put all the cards back in the pack now because she might come out as the Empress. So let's just put them back. And I'll try and remember what I've said. Let's give them a good shuffle. So I'll show you her picture in a minute. Jo Swinson is the relatively new leader of the Liberal Democrats. This is what she looks like. Where is she? She's a mum of 2, apparently. I'm only saying that because she looks quite young. And, oh, don't see, we haven't picked. Where's her picture? How weird. I'll have to print it out now. I'm going to pause my camera, guys. Hold on. It's funny that I didn't even have her printed off. This is her, okay? This is Jo Swinson. Even the fact that I hadn't printed her off, in fact, I know I did do, but it didn't print it. It literally is, it's almost like, I think people are feeling, there's this impression that she's almost like an also-ran, but it's like, no, I'm almost feeling hot off the press. It's literally like the newspaper the next day after the general election, like hot off the press, her image is there. Let's pull some cards for her. So, quite young, female, obviously. Let's have a look at Jo. Let's see what her prospects are for the general election on the 12th of December. Jo Swinson, 12/12 election. Her prospects, please. And we'll have 3 cards and the one from the bottom of the deck. I've got almost like this feeling of nerves stroke excitement here in my upper chest area. And I think she's running on a lot of adrenaline at the moment. And I have seen her interviewed, and she is quite, in fact, I was saying to my husband, it's almost as though she needs a little bit of coaching in terms of just slow down a little bit. She's very enthusiastic, and she moves quite a lot when she's talking. She's quite expressive. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but you know, next to sort of people who look a bit more grey men in suits, she's very sort of a bit bubbly, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not trying to change her, but I think if you're entering the political world, there is this, for some reason, for some people, that can put them off her, okay? Which is not right or wrong, it's just something that I've observed in terms of her body language. It's very, very open, and it's almost like, I don't know, most of the leaders have coaching behind the scenes in terms of how they articulate, how they present themselves, how they stand, and it feels as though she's coming in, she's got an energy a bit like a puppy dog, that's what I'm feeling with her. Okay, and I'm actually just feeling like this bubbling sense of excitement, nerves, enthusiasm, and a bit of adrenaline kicking in there as well. So anyway, 12-12, that's just an observation in terms of how I'm feeling when I link into her energy. 12-12, Jo. The Seven of Pentacles. Card of hard work. Jo Swinson, 12-12. It's almost, the cards are quite lively as well. Temperance, patience. Straight away see what that is. What is that? I'm going to take that one because it's on the top of the pops. God, hold it together, Amanda. The Empress, it was on the top of the pile, and on the bottom of the pile is Judgment. Okay. Yeah, I said to you, didn't I need to put the Empress back in the pack, and I just had a feeling it was going to come out, and there it is. Yeah, she does hold, I'm wanting to say she holds the balance of power. I mean, look at that. We've got the card of Temperance, which is the card of patience, but it's also the card of balance. And here we've got, I was talking about the sun and the moon earlier. I was talking about the sun is the masculine energy. The moon is the feminine energy. She is balancing the two, okay? Those cards at the beginning where I mentioned that in terms of the overall feel for the UK, are we going to choose, again, a more patriarchal male energy, or are we going to choose a more balanced energy, which has both male and female, or move more towards the feminine energy? She seems to be a bridge that holds both of them, but she is also the Empress as well. That's a nod to the fact she's a mother. Okay, I mentioned that before. I also mentioned this card. I mean, look at it, it's even yellow, for goodness sake. The Liberal Party, the Liberals are yellow. Look at her there. She's in yellow. Can you see? She's in yellow. And I spoke about this Ankh here. Seems to be linked into Easter time. Not December, this is Easter time. It's as though I think she grows in prominence through the first few months of 2020. And for some reason, by Easter time, she's in a more fertile phase of her life in terms of politics. She's also got the Judgment card. Now, I pulled this for her, didn't I? The Judgment for her. It's next to the Empress. It's almost as though whatever the results of this election are, feel as though they are a bit of a judgment call, again, on her personally. I mean, it shouldn't really be this. We should be really judging it on policies and which party we wish to vote for, rather than just the personality at the top. But a bit like Boris, it feels as though it's very personal with her. It feels as though you either really love her or hate her. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of middle ground, which is ironic because she's sort of trying to balance out the two extremes. Judgment card. Of the 4 cards that we've got for Jo, 2 of them are angelic energies. Look at that. Wings and wings. Over and above an angelic energy around her and supporting her, and I want to bring in Archangel Michael just because he's on the yellow ray. I'm also noticing that she's got, that almost looks like the Statue of Liberty, the stars above her head. Now, I think this is a nod to the fact that don't underestimate her on the world stage. That's a nod to links with America, I'm feeling. But those two, look at them. Can you see? It's like the Statue of Liberty. It's like the crown or whatever it is on the top of the Statue of Liberty. I think it's just a nod to the fact that, again, don't underestimate me. I'm not just sort of this provincial, small town girl, you know, because she comes across quite, I would say, home counties. She's got like a home counties type energy, quite wholesome, nothing wrong with it at all, but you know, it's like, no, I'm more than that. I'm more than just this provincial figure on the margins that you even forgot to print out, you know. Hold the front pages. I'm actually somebody, and I have an energy that is going to be more fitting for the times that come in. Now the Seven of Pentacles, I want to see what the traditional card for the Seven of Pentacles is. There we see a young person, and she is young, you know, I mean, compared to a lot of the people that are on the world stage who are in their 70s, let's face it, she's young, you know, she's young. She's young, she's got youth on her side. That's the traditional card for the Seven of Pentacles, and this is the depiction here, okay? So again, this to me is the card of hard work. She's worked hard to get to where she is. I feel also it's a card which says that the fruits of her labour are going to pay off in this election, that she's going to do better than people think as well. I can't help seeing that of the cards that we've got here, there's an awful lot of her colour. You know, yellow is the colour of the Liberals. So look at all the yellow and gold that we've got here in these cards. So I'm also hearing that come the 13th, when the die has been cast, as it were, or the dice have been cast, she will work with other people. It's almost as though there's an energy here that I'm working for the tree, okay? The tree represents the country, and I want to make sure that all of the branches and all of those coins within the branches are equally distributed, and that the tree survives, okay? So it feels as though there's an energy of teamwork with her. I mean, yeah, it's just, I'm just looking at the liquid that's pouring out of the jug. It's yellow as well. Yellow trumpet, yellow ankh, yellow coins, yellow sun. Don't underestimate her either. Okay, that's the three main parties done. Let's now look at the people who've held the party that's held the balance of power in this country for a while, which has been the DUP. Arlene Foster. That's what she looks like. It's one of the Northern Ireland parties. Apologies, that's my phone going. Hold on. Can I please pick my daughter up? In a minute, Luce, I can. Yes, not now. Sorry. Arlene Foster. I'm just going to turn my phone off. Ring Lucy in a minute. Okay, Arlene Foster. Let's put these cards back in the pack. The photo that I've chosen for her, I think it's the one that's on her official Twitter page, actually. There she is in her blue suit. She's a force to be reckoned with. Strong lady, strong leader. Whether you like her or you don't, I'm just picking up her strength and her determination. I think she would intimidate me a little bit, I have to be honest. You know, in negotiation, she would be, you know, tough negotiator. But I'm hearing but fair. Arlene Foster, the DUP. Let's have a look next one. Right, shuffle the cards. Let's have three for Arlene. Three cards for Arlene. The Two of Wands. She has a vision of what she wants. Her part of the world. Look at that. She's looking at her part of the world. I have a vision for what I want. And I have been used to being the, I can't remember what the expression is, the kingmaker. It's not the right expression. You know, I've been the party. She has been, the DUP have been the party that have kept the Tories in power They've kept Boris and the Conservatives in power. So it's like I'm used to holding that energy of power and wearing the crown as well, you know? A strong masculine energy with her. I'm not saying it's patriarchal, it's just a strong masculine energy, and there's nothing wrong with that. I've got a strong masculine energy. Arlene Foster, 12/12 Metatron, the general election on 12/12. Arlene Foster. Let's have a look at how she does. Arlene Foster. 2 more cards, please. Arlene Foster. The 5 of Wands and the Hierophant. She's got the Hierophant as well. Interesting. Bottom of the pack, the Knight of Cups. There she is, still expecting to be in the mix. She's expecting to be in the mix. And the cards would suggest that she is still in the mix somehow. How on earth all these parties come together and form government is anybody's question, but let's just going with what I'm reading here. Knight of Cups, you know, yeah, I'm expecting an offer. I'm expecting a phone call, you know, as happened a few years ago. The phone went, Arlene, we need your support. Will you support this government? You know, in terms of the motions we put through. Yes, I will. Okay, whatever. You know, whatever bargaining went on, she got the call. She's expecting the same thing, and it looks like it could still happen. Having said that, there's a lot of fighting. There's a lot of fighting. And that I feel is like there's fighting over this position, this deal broker. It's like a deal broker type energy. A lot of fighting in the in Westminster, I'm wanting to say, okay? Not fighting on the streets of Northern Ireland. This is fighting in Parliament. I'm taking this to be Parliament, the grey building, and all these people trying to do a deal somehow. I haven't got anybody so far coming out with outright victory. I mean, we will re-ask the cards at the end, but I'm still sensing this energy of sort of, at best, minority government, but I think more likely coalition. But we will see. But certainly she's in the battle, and I sort of feel that she sort of walks away victorious from that battle, that she gets what she wants, okay, whatever that means. I don't know anything really about Northern Ireland politics, so it's like she's taking the cup back to her patch, as it were, and she's quite pleased with what she's got. Again, she's got the energy of the Hierophant, so okay, that is almost like, don't forget about Northern Ireland, you know, don't forget about us, don't forget about our needs, don't forget about what we want as the DUP, okay, which is the Unionist Party. Am I right in saying that? Democratic DUP, I'm not sure. I'm not an expert, as I say, with Northern Ireland, but all I know is that this is saying, don't forget about us. We will make sure that we are in the mirror and that you will acknowledge us, and you will bargain with us, and we will fight for what it is that we want. Okay, so that's her. Let's do the other party in Northern Ireland. So Arlene Foster is the DUP. There is a guy called Steve Aiken. I have to be honest, it's the first time I've ever seen his face. The New Ulster Unionist Party. This guy's ex-Royal Navy commander. Okay, there he is. That's Steve. Let's have a look at his prospects. I believe these are the two main parties in Northern Ireland. Steve Aiken. Everyone still with me? Must admit, I do find these political reads really interesting. And they're interesting because they reflect the collective consciousness, you know? Okay, Steve, one more shuffle. And let's have 3 cards for Steve Aiken, New Ulster Unionist, 12/12 election. Let's see how he's looking. Steve Aiken. New Ulster Unionists, 12-12 election. 3 cards, please. Metatron. That one fell out. 6 of Wands. I'm hearing orange men. Have I got the wrong side? I don't want to offend anybody here. I'm going to look it up. Can you see he's on my screensaver? Just lighten it up for a moment. Michael. Michael Jackson's on my screensaver. I love looking at his face every time my computer goes on. Right. I just want to check something about the Ulster Unionists. I don't want to make a big faux pas here. Ulster Unionists. Okay, and I'm just going to put in orange men and see what comes up. The Orange Order. Okay, this is one of those things where I don't know enough to comment. I was just hearing the Orange Order, and I'm assuming that's linked into the new Ulster Unionist Party, is it? You'll have to let me know, guys. I know I've got lots of people that watch me in Northern Ireland, so I'm just very sensitive to the energies there. But to me, that I was drawn to the Orange Order. It was a victory, laurel wreath. So he's standing up for them, is he? Whatever that means. Be kind in the comments. I can't know everything about every single one of the parties. And I've never lived there, so... Right, what else? Steve Aiken. 2 more cards for 12-12 election. He's got the Wheel of Fortune. And he's got the World. And on the bottom of the pack, he's got the King of Swords. Sorry about all these interruptions, guys. Phone's going and everything. Working from home is difficult sometimes. Just assume someone's going to pick that up. Maybe they're not. Hold on. Right, that was quite a good place to have a break, actually, with that phone call, because I've made myself a cup of coffee, most importantly. But I've also just had a quick look, and I understand now where Metatron's going with this reading with regard to Steve Aiken. It looks like, I'm just looking at Wikipedia, the Orange Order, or Orange delegates, used to make up 25% of the original Ulster Unionist Council. And I think what's gone on is now it's called the New Ulster Unionist Party. So this is a representation of the past, okay? And the wheel is saying that more than anything, this isn't really even about the general election. This is more about the New Ulster Unionist Party, that they need to move on to the next... it's almost like they've completed the cycle. And I feel as though Steve Aiken is the King of Swords, who's come in to bring about a complete change within that particular party, okay? So the wheel is turning, and it feels destined, it feels fated, and that they are trying to come up with a new identity. They're reorganising their own party, basically. So there he is with the sword. I'm picking up it's more about them sorting themselves out than the wider election, weirdly. So it's almost as though they're like having a referendum on themselves. That's what it feels like. It feels like they're having a referendum on themselves. It's almost like they've got their own little election going on within the general election. That's what I'm picking up. In terms of his energy as a person, I noted earlier, because as I said, I've never even seen his face before, he's an ex-Royal Navy commander. So that goes with the energy of the King of Swords, you know? He will be a detail man, you know? He wants to get it ship shape, to use a Navy expression, okay? He wants to get them ship shape. So he's coming in to do that job for them. That's all I can get on them, guys, okay? So I'm going to move on from that. Let's have a look at the Brexit Party now and Nigel Farage. I love the fact I've got 2 Borises. I mean, look at that, you know? It's like, why have one when you can have 2? Come on, guys, you've got to lighten it up a bit. Right. Jo, we've done you. Jeremy, we've done you. We're going to put it all together at the end. We've still got the Greens to go, the SNP, and we've got good old Nigel. Right. We've done Arlene. So, unless you've been living, you know, under a rock somewhere, you will know who this guy is. Okay, Nigel Farage, leader of the Brexit Party. Let's have a look at how he is going to fare and his prospects. I don't actually believe he's standing himself, which is slightly strange for a leader of a party to not be standing themselves as a member of parliament. He's not standing, so he's just a figurehead, basically, of the party, a powerful figurehead. You know, people that love him, really love him. And again, a bit like Marmite, people that don't like him, really don't like him. So, but there's plenty that love him. So let's give him the respect he deserves, and let's have a look at his prospects. So Nigel Farage, 1212. It's interesting, guys. I'm being professional here, and I'm being neutral because I have my own opinions on this guy, but I'm genuinely struggling to read him just in terms of his face and energy. So rather than thinking that's me, I don't think it is me. I think he is he's quite tricky to read in some respects. He's a very interesting character. He's very enigmatic. He's got charisma. But he's quite hard to read, so okay, let's give it a go. Archangel Metatron, Archangel Michael, Nigel Farage, Brexit Party, 12/12 election. They're up for it. They're really up for it. Nigel Farage, Brexit Party, 12/12. How are they going to do? 3 cards, please. 3 cards, please. Nigel Farage, Brexit Party, 12/12. How are they going to do? He's getting more nervous the nearer it gets to the date. I'm feeling that. The Emperor. He's got the Emperor. Boris had the Emperor earlier as well. Nigel Farage, 12/12. His prospects, please. Similar cards. He's got the Empress and he's got the Queen of Cups. And on the bottom of the deck, the 6 of Cups, followed by the 3 of Swords. But to be fair to him, I haven't taken more cards for other people, so I won't for him. 6 of Cups on the bottom of the pack. To me, this is the past. This is a card of the past. It's always a card of the past, the 6 of Cups. It's about remembering the past. To me, it's looking back to a UK of old. Okay, it's looking back to a UK of old. A return to that. That's what it feels like. It's a return to that. Looking back through a gateway, in terms of, you know, it all looks pretty good through that gateway, you know, happiness, the sun is shining, it's all looking quite lovely, okay? It's is what it's saying to me there. Now, he's got really powerful cards. I'm trying to read them in terms of what this means. In terms of the actual election, though, he has got the Emperor and he has got the Empress. Now, did Boris have the Emperor and the Empress? So I'll put the cards back in the pack so I can't remember. Yeah, he did, didn't he? So it's almost just very odd. He's virtually got the same cards as Boris Johnson. I think I'm right in saying that. But let's just read them just for him. The Emperor and the Empress. I mean, they're positive. You can't say they're not positive cards. I'm feeling as though they're saying he's going to appeal across the board, or his party, to both men and women. Okay, the Emperor, male, the female, the Empress. I don't really understand the Queen of Cups, what she's got to do with it. I might have to pull another card for that. Why have we got the Queen of Cups for Nigel Farage? I mean, is that the Queen? Is that linked to the Queen? We've got both the Empress and the Queen of Cups together. Feels as though there's a nod to royalty here somehow. Feels as though that is the actual Queen. For Queen and country, I'm hearing. There's this energy of, I'm doing this for Queen and country. It's very much bound up in an energy of the past, though, of looking back, that Six of Cups card. I'm doing this for Queen and country, very patriotic. I'm going to have to pull another card on that Queen of Cups. I don't really understand it. I mean, again, can you see the full moon? The full moon behind the Queen. I mean, I've read on Brexit before many times on this channel, and I've often, in fact, yeah, actually now it's all coming back to me. I remember saying on the Brexit videos that I've done before that something happens with the royal family, and I thought it was the Queen, around the time that either Brexit happens or doesn't happen, or, you know, it's the culmination of whatever Brexit is ever going to be. And of course, we do have all of these awful stories now just coming out about Prince Andrew, and it's just like the can of worms has been opened, and where it takes us, I don't know. I think where it's taking a lot of people is wanting to almost go back to a past which felt more innocent, where, you know, we didn't know about all this type of stuff. We do now. You can't put the lid back on the can. It's out in the open. But why this is all linked into his election prospects, I'm still not quite sure. So I'm going to pull another card in terms of why have we got the Queen of Cups for Nigel Farage. Why have we got the Queen of Cups, please, for Nigel Farage? And this is linked into the 12/12 election, that particular day, that particular vote. Why is the Queen of Cups showing, please, for Nigel? Why is the Queen of Cups showing? The Nine of Swords, feeling trapped, feeling bound. That's not a particularly positive card. Look there, the moon is veiled as well. The moon is veiled. The moon is full here. The moon is veiled there behind cloud. I mean, the Queen doesn't have any executive power to change anything. So I'm struggling to see how she comes into this. Bottom of the deck, we've got the Seven of Swords as well. That's a card of deceit. It feels as though I'm wanting to say what he wants to happen and what he wants to accomplish. For some reason, it seems to be linked to, there's an impossibility to it based on the Constitution. Because the Queen is sort of like the head of state, the Constitution, because it's there with this energy, which is all bound and tied up, an energy of being trapped. But yet we have these very positive cards at the start. So it's a very, very confusing picture with him and his party. I'm not clear on that. Let's just ask again, does the Brexit Party have a role? Does the Brexit Party have a role going forward with regard to the government that is formed? Are they part of the government that is formed? Are the Brexit Party part of the government that is formed? But then again, if he's the leader and he doesn't have a seat in Parliament, how does that work? Okay, I'm not sure. Let's just drop down into my heart space. I'm not sure how it works. Does the Brexit Party have a hand in the governing of power? The moon, you see, it's veiled. The moon is, you can't see it. Something's veiled, something's hidden. Not meant to see something. The moon 3 times. But yet we've got the Emperor and the Empress. Maybe it's an unexpected event that we just are not allowed to see at this moment in time. I mean, I don't think it's anything linked into him and his life, but I am just going to say that I think it was one of the last general elections we had. I don't know if it was the last one or the one before. He's been around for a while. He had a terrible crash in his helicopter. He nearly died, basically. And it was all very Shakespearean, you know, and he survived it. And I'm very glad he did survive it. You know, I wouldn't want any harm to happen to the guy. But it was weird. It was like he dodged a life. You know, he used up one of his 9 lives there. So I don't know. There's just but it doesn't have to be about him. It might be his part. It's something linked into his party. So I don't know. I can't say if I don't know. The moon is something is veiled. 9 of Swords, trapped situations. Somehow the Queen is involved in it. But yet the initial 2 cards with him, the Emperor and the Empress. I don't know, guys. I'm not sure. Should I use a different pack? Maybe I'll use a different pack because it's like I don't like not knowing. It bugs me. It's going to bug me. Let's pull a Moonology card. All those illustrations of the moon. 3 cards with the moon on for him. Let's pull a Moonology card for him. Nigel Farage and the Brexit Party. 12-12. Nigel Farage and the I can't even say it. Brexit Party. 12-12. Nigel Farage, please, is there any clarity you can give us? Is there anything you can give us with regard to Nigel Farage and the Brexit Party? I'm back. Oh, right. The battery died as I was pulling the moon card, but there's been so much symbolism ever since. Basically, it came up battery exhausted as I pulled this card. Your dreams need a practical plan. And I think actually that's perfect because probably even the most ardent supporter of the Brexit Party knows that there aren't a lot of other policies other than just get Brexit done. It's also one of Boris's slogans. But of course, the country has many needs, not just exiting Brexit. So I think that full moon card, your dreams need a practical plan, linked into this something that we can't quite see, feeling trapped. It's almost as though if they do come into a position of increased power, it's as though the chickens come home to roost. I'm hearing that expression, which is, okay, show us what you've got. How do we do it? How do we go about it? What does it actually look like? Because for the last 3 years, all of the parties have played around with not just doing it, but like, what will it look like? Okay. The other piece of symbolism that I feel is quite great is the fact that because my battery keeps dying, I've just gone into the garage and I've found this horrible, it's the only extension lead that I can find. And it is like this, look how ridiculous this is. Look how long this is. And it's a bit dirty and grubby, but I want to get this video done. So it's like, I'm just going to plug it in because I want to do this video and get it finished. And as I was just plugging it in so my camera will work, and it's ludicrous, I just thought, my God, this is like a dirty old rope. That's what it feels like. Energetically, that's what it feels like. And it's like, there's another expression about giving yourself enough rope to hang yourself, basically. So it's almost as though promises have been made, but are they deliverable? That's the energy that I'm getting. It's not particularly positive, but it's what I'm getting, okay? So, I don't know, a very confusing picture. The other thing I was thinking as I was rummaging for stuff in the garage, I was thinking about this thing that we can't quite yet see, that's veiled, and it was pulled in relation to Nigel Farage. I'm not saying I agree with this, but I'm just putting it out there because it is a strand of information and energy that is available if you want to go and look it up, which is there is a report that is being suppressed at the moment by Boris Johnson, which talks about Russian involvement, potential interference, but certainly activity linked into the Brexit referendum vote. So I don't know whether that is linked into, there's something we can't quite see, but that could come in as sort of like a bombshell, whether it happens before the 12th or whether it happens after, between the 12th and Easter, because I'm feeling there's something happens between whoever gets voted into power in December and then Easter time. It's as though there's a corridor there, and it feels as though there's a lot of jostling for power. Wouldn't even be surprised, I hate to say it, if there might well be another election on the agenda, but let's hope not, guys, because we need stability. Right, let's move on. I want to now look at the Scottish situation, and here we've got Nicola Sturgeon of the SNP. Okay, Nicola Sturgeon of the SNP. I think I have done a bit of a reading on her before. Can't remember when it would have been. Maybe it was one of the Brexit videos. I can't remember. So she is hoping for victory, of course. Her thing has always been another referendum on Scottish independence. Scotland voted to remain in the last Brexit referendum that we had. So let's just see how she's looking. Hold on. Right, Nicola Sturgeon. Nicola Sturgeon. The SNP. Just want to clear the energy. Nicola Sturgeon, the SNP. How is it looking for her? Oh, God, they're all over the place, the cards. There's two that have just fallen on the floor. I'll get them. Oh. Well, they came upside down. The Three of Swords and the King of Wands. I don't think that's her Three of Wands. I think that's her putting an end to something. Whether that is sticking the knife into Boris energetically or another, I'm not sure. I'm just going to put those two cards there because I would like to see what else I get. But that's my interpretation of those two cards. It's sticking a knife energetically in to something that she doesn't approve of, whoever the King of Wands is. And I'm almost wanting to say that's Boris, but it's also Westminster, bringing an end to something, maybe bringing an end to the stalemate. I don't know. When I say sticking a knife in, I'm also not meaning it that she's doing it with any ill intention. It's politics at the end of the day, and politics can be a dirty game. So she is in it to win, basically. The King of Pentacles, okay. The King of Pentacles, that came out for Boris, didn't it? That came out for Boris. So she's got Boris in her sight, okay? She's got Boris in her sight. I'm picking up an energy a bit like a terrier. I don't know whether I said this last time I channeled her. It's like she's like a terrier. She's like she won't let something go. In many ways, I think that's quite a... it can be a good quality, because she passionately believes what she believes in. So she won't sell out. Right, so we've got Boris showing for her. What else? Two cards. Nicola Sturgeon, the SNP, 1212. What does it look like? The Nine of Pentacles. That's her in her own garden or her own, country, her own part of the world, wanting Scotland to do quite well for itself. But equally, this was regard to the election, so I feel as though she's going to do quite well. Oof, bloody hell. Death. And on the bottom of the pack, the Seven of Pentacles. Goodness knows how all this is going to play out, guys, because that Death card there with the Three of Swords in reverse, she's putting an end to something. I don't feel it's, I mean, you could say I'm not picking up that she's on the way out, you see, politically. Intuitively, I'm not picking that out. I'm picking up that she's still a player, but yet she's got the Death card. She's the Grim Reaper. Oh, that's a horrible thing to say. She's not the Grim Reaper. I actually quite like the lady. I think I admire her ballsiness, actually, which has got nothing to do with her politics. I quite like her ballsiness, and I have respect for her. So she's the Grim Reaper in terms of anything that doesn't work for Scotland. She's going to be quite ruthless. I mean, look at the cards. In relation to the King of Pentacles, we've already seen who the King of Pentacles is. It's Boris. He's got an enemy in her. And maybe he underestimates her. Because actually, either side of all of that, which feels like it's about him, not about her, we've got these two cards, which is like she's just steadily getting on, working away, creating wealth. You know, these are trees full of pentacles, full of abundance. Cutting away that which doesn't serve. The Grim Reaper on this Death card has got the white rose attached to it. You could say that white rose is linked into England. England's emblem is the rose. It's holding the rose. She wants no part of it. I mean, you know, this isn't any secret. She said it all. She wants no part of all this, I'm wanting to say sordid game. That's her energy saying that, not me. You know, Westminster politics. She wants no part of it. She just wants to concentrate on her own patch of land, Scotland. Yeah. Wow. For her to do that to this person, and I'm talking here ending political career or hopes or thwarting him. I mean, death is death. It's not, you know, it's not a mild little prune. She must do reasonably well. To be in a position to do that, she must do reasonably well. But then she does it and it's like, yeah, I'm back. I'm tending my flock, I'm hearing. Let's pull a moon card for her. Nicola Sturgeon. Balance, spirituality and practicality, full moon in Pisces. Now, in this deck that I've been using for all of the leaders, the Chariot card had the Pisces symbol on it. Do you remember I said, and I didn't understand the Pisces symbol? I think it was with Corbyn. He had the Chariot with the Pisces symbol. So there is this ruthlessness with her, and she's being encouraged to balance out her, well, what it says, spirituality and practicality, to be a little bit more fluid, a little bit softer. But she is who she is. Can the two fish swim together in the same pond? The two fish being England and Scotland. Or, you know, England, Wales and Northern Ireland being one of the fish, breaking away from the Union. Can they coexist in the same part of the world or can't they? I don't know. Up for debate. I think she thinks they can, but they need to be seen as equal fish. Can you see that? The two fish are equal. And at the moment she feels as though that isn't the case. And so therefore we're bringing in this energy. We're going to cut it away. But ultimately what she wants is this. So it's almost like it's a different type of union with the rest of the United Kingdom or whatever's left of it. Okay, let's put those cards back. And let's move on. I've now got the Green Party. I haven't got the Welsh guys. We'll do a quick read for Wales in a moment. His didn't print out either. So let's just do the Green Party. What I like about the Green Party, in terms of the photographs that I've printed out, is that they don't have one leader. They have co-leaders. They have a man and a woman. They have Sian Berry, just trying to fire up my computer, and Jonathan Bartley. There they are. These are the two leaders of the Green Party in the UK. So let's have a look at the chances for the Green Party in this election. I've seen her interviewed on one of the leaders' debates, and she came across quite well. So I'm just trying to find out who the Welsh leader is. Welsh leader, Plaid Cymru. I've said that wrong, I know I have. You see, I printed him out and he hasn't come through. Adam Price. I think it's Adam Price. Yeah, there he is. Okay, sorry I didn't print you out. Let's just print you out. And then we know what we're doing. Oh God, tripping over the blinking dirty rope here. Hold on. Not ready. See the amount of leads by my feet. It's absolutely ridiculous. Oh, come on. There it is. Yeah. Sorry guys, won't be a minute. I'm not stopping the camera again because otherwise it takes so long to stitch it all together. And quite frankly, I don't have the time. So get yourself a cuppa. Right, that's printing. Should be. A minute. Oh God. Tell you what, the mess of cables at my feet feels as though it's very indicative of the whole mess that, you know, this situation with British politics and probably politics around the world. It's just a bloody mess. Anyway, right, he's printing off. Let's go back to the greens. Let's go back to the greens. There we go. Okay. Green Party, 12-12. The Green Party, 12-12. UK election. Let's just have a look at their prospects, please. Archangel Metatron and Archangel Michael. The Green Party, 12-12. The Knight of Pentacles. They have something to offer the debate. They're making slow and steady progress. 12-12, the Green Party. The Chariot. One more card. The Green Party. The Seven of Swords. Ooh. The Hermit on the bottom of the deck. Right, I know what that is. The Green Party, they're making slow and steady progress towards an eventual day when things start to move much more quickly for them as an ideology, as something that people believe that they can get behind, and that a vote won't be wasted, that actually, you know, if you vote Green, it's actually going to create substantial change. Until that time, the Knight is there making steady progress, has something to offer, but the Chariot is waiting. The Chariot is waiting. I'm feeling as though the Chariot as well, with that Pisces symbol on it, seems as though it's linked into the Aquarian age. And I say that because I just have a link there with the Pisces and Aquarius. The Seven of Swords and the Hermit feels as though that is about the Hermit is asking people to go within and search their conscience and search their soul and try and find a way forward for the environment. And the Seven of Swords is sort of like, nah, don't want to do that. You know, do we have to do that? Can we get away with it a little bit longer? You know, it's the energy of betraying ourselves. And I'm wanting to say betraying the planet in some way. Okay. Again, we've got the full moon emphasized in 2 cards here. So I feel this is really just saying that they will make steady, slow progress, that their time will come. I'm noting that there are 2 white horses in both cards. The white horse to me links into the energy of Christ consciousness. And Christ consciousness becoming more prevalent in our world. That has got nothing to do with going to church and being a Christian. It's to do with actually living by the principles of Christ in terms of love your neighbour as yourself, and apply that to the planet as well. And it feels as though when that energy becomes more prevalent in our world and the white horse rises, and we stop selling ourselves short, then they will have their day, okay? But we will only stop selling ourselves short and telling ourselves little white lies, you know, that everything's okay really, when as a country we have gone into more of a deeper introspection in terms of what type of world do we want to be living in. And I just love the fact, you know, that these 2, male and female, they're both quite young as well. I really like their energy, I have to say. I really like their energy. If you can look at those 2 people and say yuck, then I think you've got something wrong with you personally, because to me they're shining. See the light, they're just shining, very, very bright. They're representing the yin and yang, which I was talking about at the start. You know, I can't think of any other party that's got 2 leaders, co-leaders. How brilliant is that? You know, it's like, but are we ready for it? Probably not, no, because there's still this energy. It's almost as though there's an energy in the collective in the UK, which is that, you know, I don't trust these 2. I don't trust them. They're spinning a lie. You know, we don't believe things are as bad as that really. And the answers to whether it's the truth or not comes with the Hermit, you know. I also feel the Hermit energy around the UK. I mean, we are an island, and the Hermit to me has always been the energy of sort of drawing up the drawbridge, you know, turning off the phone, saying no, putting your boundaries up. So maybe there's something here as well about the island race versus the wider world. And maybe this also links into the Seven of Swords, you know. Feels as though there are some lessons coming in with regard to all of that. Let's pull a moon card for these 2 and the Green Party, and then I'm going to wrap it up. Oh, I've got to do the Welsh chap, and then I'm going to do the overall, where are we at with it. Okay, so firstly the Green Party. Let's just have a moonology card for them, please, Metatron. This one. Nothing is yet set in stone. You see, nothing is yet set in stone. It's a powerful card, that. The waves crashing in. It's what it says it is. Nothing is yet set in stone. They might surprise people by how well they do. I've seen a lot of posters going up around where I live, actually, for them. So, right, let's just have a really quick look at the Welsh guy. Just printed out his picture. Adam. I think he's called Adam Price. Yes, he is. There we are. There's Adam. So for my Welsh viewers that I do have, let's have a quick look at Adam. Plaid Cymru. 3 cards for how his party will do in the election. Of course, there is a move as well for Welsh independence. But let's have a look. Adam Price, Plaid Cymru. The election on 12/12. 3 cards. Adam Price. 3 cards. Adam Price. The 2 of Wands. He's got the vision that Nicola Sturgeon had. I'm sure she had that card as well. Of his part of the world, Wales. Okay? Eyes fixed on his part of the world, Wales. He's got a vision for where he wants to take it. It was exactly the same card that she got. 12/12 election. 2 more cards, please. Adam Price. The Emperor. My goodness, they're all getting very similar cards. It's like, you know, I want to be at the head of the table as well. My party has got something valid to say. We're not going to be not listened to anymore. The Empress. Oh my God. And the star on the bottom of the deck. If you're still with me, well done, guys. I hope you've got yourself a cup of tea or coffee, because this is like it's like bending my mind now. He's got the Emperor and the Empress as well. And he's got the Star card, which is the card of hope, the dream. Whatever his dream is, whatever he's hoping for, is potentially possible. It's almost as though, oh God, I know what it is. Nigel Farage had the Emperor and the Empress. He's got the Emperor and the Empress, Adam Price. The Emperor and the Empress have come up in quite a few of the other people's decks. This is almost like everybody sees their part of the UK as, it's like going back to the days of old. It's like the kingdom. I'm being taken back to sort of like the age of the kingdoms. We are the United Kingdom, but we used to be lots of little kingdoms. And actually, you know, not just, you know, Wales potentially becoming independent or Scotland becoming independent. I'm also being taken back to like an old map of the UK, where, why am I hearing Wessex? Where the hell is Wessex? Where Wessex was a kingdom. Was Wessex a kingdom? I don't know. Must be, I guess, because I'm hearing it. Is that what we all want? Splitting off into smaller little kingdoms. So for him, Adam Price, he wants to be emperor and empress of his little kingdom. And he believes it's possible. And based on what these cards are showing, he's going to do quite well as well. My God, I mean, how on earth this all comes out in terms of who is in control by the 13th. Will we even know who's in control by the 13th? I don't think we will know. I think there's going to be a lot of bargaining. Let's do a reading now, having looked at all of them, for how it looks one day after the election. how does it look one day after the general election? So the 13th of December 2019, waking up. How's the land lying? And we're going to have 5 cards for this. 13th of December 2019, the UK. What's the political landscape looking like? Oh, God almighty. The 3 of Swords. Heartache. 8 of Cups on the bottom of the deck. I'm going to take that one, by the way. Walking away from something. The 3 of Swords is the first card out for the 13th of December 2019. Political landscape. I'm hearing the knives are out. The 9 of Swords. The knives are out for somebody. The knives might be out for a few of them. As in, did not get outright victory. Did not get what we were expecting. I'm also seeing the 3 of Swords there. It's like 3 parties having to come together somehow and work it out. But yet the 9 of Swords beside it, still trapped. Again, please remember this election's only being called because there is no movement forward. There's been no resolution. Got a horrible feeling it could be status quo as normal. Let's just have a look though. So that's the first 2 cards. How's it looking on the 13th? Political landscape, UK, after the election, one day. The 6 of Cups, a longing for the past. What have we done type energy. The Knight of Swords. It's not a king, it's a knight. One more. 13th of December 2019. Where are we at as a country politically? What's the political landscape? What does it look like? The 3 of Wands, yeah. There's no king, there's no queen here. What we have got is 2 cards which have got number 3 on it. I think it's a coalition of 3. With this on the bottom of the deck, walking away from something. Is that walking away from Brexit? I don't know. Could be. Or it could be somebody walking away. One of the leaders walking away. I have to say, even though Corbyn's cards were very good, this guy's got a beard. Corbyn's got a beard. And look, it's the moon. One day after the full moon, somebody's walking away. And the one that's left is looking to the horizon and thinking, what do I do now? To do anything, I have to use the 3 wands. I have to use the 3 wands. The question is, which parties are represented by those 3 wands? Let's pull a card for Boris one day after the election. Let's pull a card for Boris one day after the election. This doesn't mean it's the final, look at it, because it could take a little while to sort out. Right, that's just flown out of the deck. Oh, what is that? This is Boris one day after the election. The 4 of Wands and the 10 of Cups. That to me feels as like it's a nod to home. This is like a home, isn't it? This is like him and his lady. Family is on his mind. Retreating to home, family, wanting to spend time with family. Happiness within the family scenario. Doesn't really say much about the political situation though. There's 2 birds there. I'm hearing like 2 blackbirds. There's that song about blackbirds in Berkeley Square. You know the song 2 Blackbirds in Berkeley Square? I don't know whether he lives near Berkeley Square. Maybe he does. If he lives near Berkeley Square, it's him retreating to his home. And this almost feels like there's a bit of the fence is up a bit. I'm retreating. I'm going to go and spend some time with my family. Doesn't say much about politically what's going on with him. Let's pull a card for Corbyn. One day after the general election. Jeremy Corbyn, one day after the general election. He's the Page of Swords. He's not a king, he's the page. But the Page of Swords is still standing, still has a message, still has something that has to be delivered, is still in the running. Let's have a card for Jo Swinson, one day after the general election. Let's have a card for Jo Swinson, one day after the general election. Jo Swinson, one day after the general election. How's she doing? She's the Knight of Cups, yeah. So she's got something to offer. Right, so both Jeremy and Jo are still in the running. They are one of the three. I'm assuming Boris is the other third one. Maybe he's not. I want another card on Boris. Show me Boris after this general election. Show me his energy one day after this general election. How's he feeling? How is Boris feeling? He's the King of Swords, but he's also got the Judgment card. I'm just showing you how they came out. King of Swords, but I've also got Judgment. So it feels as though he's got the, if it's a coalition, he's got the majority. He's got the biggest share of seats in the parliament. But yet he's having to do, he's still, it's like deja vu. It's just like, it's where we've been. He's still having to deal with these two. Oh, God, guys. Jeez. I don't know if we're any clearer. I don't know if we're any clearer after the election. I don't know if things are any clearer. Let's see the mood of the British public after the general election, and then we're going to end there. The mood of the general public after the election. So let's say, I was going to say a week or so after. Let's see how the general public are feeling of the whole of the United Kingdom. How is the general population of the United Kingdom feeling after the general election? One more shuffle. And we're going to have 4 cards. How are the general public feeling after the general election has happened? Looking up at the trees, and there's a couple of birds that have, I guess it's nests from this year, but they're still right high up there. And it's that expression of things coming home to roost is what I'm hearing. It's funny, there's one of my neighbours across the road. She's just going into her front door and she's wearing a mustard yellow coloured coat. I've never seen her wear that before. I'm not always staring out of my window looking at her, but she's actually just going into the door wearing a yellow coat. That, to me, is a nod to Jo's energy. Anyway, the question is, how are the public feeling 1 week after the general election? Okay, stop there. Top 4 cards. The High Priestess, the Ten of Wands, the Moon, oh my God, and the King of Pentacles. I'm saying it because, again, 1 week after, it's like we're no clearer. You've still got illusion. The moon is, something is hidden. And something is hidden next to the King of Pentacles. So if Boris is still there, there's something hidden that you haven't seen, you haven't heard, that hasn't come out, whether it's the Russian report, whether it's something else, I don't know, because they're not telling me, we're not meant to know. The High Priestess is the same energy as the moon. Something is veiled, something is hidden. And the Ten of Wands, I talked about the Ten of Wands yesterday on my Facebook page. This is where the burden has just become so great. People are fed up, basically. They're fed up. It's like look at that guy. It's like we're no further forward is what I want to say. We're no further forward. I'm still having to carry all of these 10 wands on my back, and God, it hurts. It's the load is getting really heavy now. I was hoping somebody was going to take these wands off my back and we were going to have a fresh new start. But I have to say what I've got here. It's just like same old, same old. Still can't see the way ahead, you know? Having said that, I'm not going to be depressing about it, because the High Priestess is saying, even though you can't see the way ahead, we are spiritually looking after you as a country, okay? Again, the black and the white pillar, okay? The masculine and the feminine energy. I don't know why it has to be so hard, but it is hard. And going into 2020, somehow, some way, the clouds are going to clear. The moon will reveal what it wants to reveal. The sun will rise again. And Boris is in the spotlight, is what I'm hearing. That doesn't mean he's in charge. He might still be, but I'm hearing he's in the spotlight. I don't know whether he's done something or something happens. He's in the spotlight. Remember, this is how the public are viewing it. So it's like people are, he's in the spotlight. Let's have a moon card to finish with. And then I'm going to let us all go. I'm going to have my lunch. It must be lunchtime. It's 11 minutes past 1. Wow. Look at my old-fashioned clock. 11 minutes past 1. 1:11. What a perfect time to end this. Your commitment is being tested. Yeah. Yeah. People are feeling frustrated, impatient, like can't bear it anymore. This is just too much. Can't stand a lot of them, you know? That's a bit negative. I won't end on that way. But it's just like, for goodness sake, something has to give. I'll end with that one, which is on the top of the pack. Prosperity lies ahead, new moon in Taurus. Taurus is linking into April time, isn't it? April. Something happens by springtime. I think we're still in for a bit of a sticky period, certainly until spring. That's my feeling. And then from spring, it feels as though something better comes in. Hold your vision till then. That's what I'm getting, guys. Don't shoot the messenger. Much love to everybody. We'll see how it all plays out. I found it interesting anyway. But now I'm hungry and I'm going to go and eat. Much love. Keep the comments clean, please, or they won't be posted. I've tried to remain as neutral as possible. Please show other commentators the respect they deserve as well, because people have different opinions than you do, and that's just the way of the world. Somehow we have to make of this whole situation, we have to bring a sense of balance, cohesion, steadiness, growth, and groundedness. So be that light and hold the light for the UK. Thanks very much, everyone. See you soon. Bye.